highway of super connectivity where we're bringing the entire world together. Already, Jack Ma has taken his land on that highway and he has established Alibaba on it. Jeff Bezos has taken his land and he has established Amazon on it.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg has taken his land and he established Facebook and then he bought other people's land, including Instagram and WhatsApp. The question is, are you living in somebody's rented house or are you also buying a land on this super connectivity highway in order for you to create value and exchange and get some of that, income? Once we start thinking about technology in that way, it will change our approach. You will not see it to be a difficult thing that is meant for IT. You will not see it for as a difficult thing that's meant for the geeks and the nerds. You will see it as there's a breakthrough industry. There are new and opening avenues for me to also position and make money. And just like the rest of them have taken their spot, I'm also going to take my spot. Udo Okonjo, your mentor, she has established
Yeah.
her land on the highway and she's tapping into it. Um, um, we can talk about thousands. Oladuro Toye, Ubi Franklin, yourself, myself. So we need to start asking questions. Where am I positioning my business in this super highway of information and connectivity to create
Yeah.
economic value? Immediately you start thinking about it like that, Patience. You will not wake up and scroll through Instagram to look at only the latest styles. You will not wake up and go
Mm-hmm.
to TikTok to only watch funny videos. You wake up asking, I have a land on this place. I'm building a certain something that will give me economic value on the highway. And I need to attend to my business. I need to attend to my land and make sure that nobody is encroaching or not another landlord building a bigger community and making my rent go down. That's how you need to start thinking about it.
Amazing, amazing insight. Thank you so much for sharing that. From that conversation, I have a question, and they're
Okay.
twofold. So the first one is this: are you saying the future? So for me, in recent times, since the COVID-19, I've been saying tech is the new oil, and indeed, it
Yeah.
looks like tech is a new oil. Fantastic, yeah. But the thing is, are you saying the future is for those who have platforms? Are you saying the future of tech, the future for you to actually stand out is about you having platforms? That's one fold. And then you talked about you owning your own land, and your land, you can own your land on Instagram, on Facebook. So how do you build that presence? You are a branding person. You've taught
Okay.
me a whole lot on how to position my brand. So first, tell me if the future is about you owning platforms, and can you also own a platform on a platform?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the future is absolutely platforms and ecosystems. If you're not building a community around your brand, if you're not building a community around your product and your service, you will not
Yeah.
survive, right? So I don't even need to mince words in any way. Just look at
Yes.
it. And now this is the thing that I want people to understand, right? Last year in Ghana, the government passed a law and said that everybody should discard the big TV, the old one that used to have the big thing at the back. You remember our big TV?
Yes. Yes.
And everybody
Yes.
should
Yes.
move to flat screens. And people are like, yeah, 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 yeah. This is what people need to understand. Technology does not care about your emotions. It does not care about your feelings. It is moving. Now, for the people who did not do that, when our communication agency sort of switched to digital, nothing happened.
Yes.
Now your TV is sitting there, but you are not getting
You can
any
mute it.
channel on it. So you can now say, "Oh, me, I don't care. I don't want to leave my TV," and you can watch all the flies on your screen. You'll be seeing those white and black things. That's what you'll be watching, right? And that's how technology is. It does not wait for you, and it does not care about your emotions and whether or not you want to adapt. But you can absolutely be sure that the future of tech in most of these industries will be platforms and ecosystems. And we'll talk about that. That's the reason why Zuckerberg is so greedy as a businessman, trying to grab all the platforms and bringing it
Yeah.
together as an ecosystem. Now you can do your Facebook Messenger in your WhatsApp, and they're trying to connect your Instagram DM. He's building an ecosystem, platform to platform. That's the future. If you've not started building a community around you, your product, and your service, go start today. Now, two things. When you come up as somebody who wants to
Yeah.
get into this online real estate or this new booming economy that we have, you need to
Mm-hmm.
understand this. For a lot of us, because we're coming from a place where we're not necessarily experts, we're holders, we're not any of those things. Because we're coming from that background, it is okay for you to build on somebody's platform temporarily, but
Okay.
do that understanding that ultimately, as a landlord on this highway of connectivity and economic framework, you do not want to continue building on somebody's land. And so, if you're using that as a try period, which is you're building on Mark Zuckerberg's land, you're building on Jeff Bezos' land, you're building on Twitter, you're building on WhatsApp, you're building on TikTok, you're building on YouTube, Larry Page's land. Do it knowing that you're doing it as a temporal transition to build on your own land. What is your own land? Your own land now becomes your own website. Your own land now becomes your own community of people who can connect with you in real life. Your own land becomes your offline audience, right? Let's ask a question to the people who are listening to us. If your Instagram and Facebook got deactivated today, where are your audiences?
Exactly.
Do you have a database of their emails and contacts? Do they know where to find you physically? If you pulled up an event, will you have a way to reach them without these online platforms? So this is the reason why it is important for you to start thinking about, yes, I am building on all of these platforms. Yes, I am building on somebody else's land, but I'm using his infrastructure and already the system that he has built so I can transition my people to my own land. Your own land can now be your own website. Your own land can now be your own email management software. Your own land can now become, how you're getting people offline to your events for them to engage with you. That's what you need to think about. Now, on the question, your own land can be your newsletters, your weekly newsletters that you send. Your own land can be anything you're doing to say that, look, this platform I own and control, we live here, this is ours, and build upon it. The how to do it is the next step of this conversation, and we can look at that shortly.
Okay, thank you so much. Wow. So this is really, really insightful, and I can see that everybody's connecting, and I hope you're getting some fantastic. A lot of you are taking notes. That's the essence of this. And I hope that there are lots of young entrepreneurs here, because for me, the essence of this platform is to be able to send that message to young people that, look, you can do it. And the future is for you. If you listen to Kwame's story, he had put in a whole lot of work, and he has actually dedicated so much time to doing this and getting to this place. Thank you for sharing all of that, Kwame. Really, really insightful. And we'll just go forward really quick. So, like I said, we're talking to a lot of young people, especially entrepreneurs who are joining us. So I wanted to ask you, what would you advise a young entrepreneur, someone who's aspiring to be an entrepreneur, who just got out of school, who wants to get into the business world? What would you say are the necessary skills they need to have as they get into that space, or before they get into that space?
So before we talk about skills, can I talk to them about the mindset that they should have? Now, if you're a young person who's just coming out of school and you're a young person, period, trying to build value, there are two things I want you to get at the back of your mind as a mindset adjustment to help you in the real world. Number one, whatever you learned in school prepared you or gave you a certain level of information. Please, 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 number one, don't ever lie to yourself and think that all you need to thrive in the real world is what you have learned from school. So you better get your butt out of school ready to learn more. So that's number one. That spirit, that energy to say, I want to keep learning. I want to keep, bettering myself, because the world is absolutely changing. Number two, don't get in a creative bubble. So there's this thing that I call creative bubble. Have you seen this thing where young people come to you and they have a great idea, right? What they think is a great idea for a business, for a service, for a product. I want to create a next Facebook. And they have this glimmer in their eye, like they have created the most amazing idea that no one has ever thought of, right?
Yeah.
That's a fallacy. I can say to you concretely, there is absolutely nothing new under the sun. You're not about to bring any idea that we've not heard before.
Absolutely.
So do not get yourself caught in a creative bubble and think that you are the new cheese. You're not the new cheese. Cheese has been there, right? So never ever get in that. It confuses you and it compromises you. It gives you a false sense of pride and entitlement where you feel like the world owes you something because you have this great idea. No,
Yeah.
get those two things out of your mind. So that's it. Now, in terms of the skill set, this is what I'll say to you. Regardless and irrespective of industry, regardless and irrespective of niche industry, you are going to need digital at some point in your value chain. It doesn't matter. You can be a church, you can be a construction firm. It doesn't matter which industry you're in. You can even be a butcher who is cutting cows and giving meat. There's a certain place where you will need technology to apply to some part of the business to be able to get it to, reach the kind of people you're reaching. So digital is the new normal, and digital is a must-have. The only thing you need to figure out is understand which part of your business needs the digital application. For some of us, our entire business, 100% needs digital. We're delivering our information, our products, our services, all through digital platforms. So we're there. For some, it is the HR and how they engage with people. You're using Zoom to make conferences. You're using all these other different digital platforms to track tasks and etc. So for some companies it's HR, for some it's top management, for some is the delivering to the customer at the end of the supply chain that you need to fully understand. So what is the number one skill you must have? Have a digital leadership mindset. Have a digital leadership mindset. What I mean is, as a young person wanting to start something, understand that digital is a way of life and digital is a way of thinking. Digital is not for the nerds. Digital is not for IT, right? So that's the thing you want to put at the back of your mind. The number two skill you must have, like I said, is this reckless abandonment to continuous learning. If you look at my eyes, right? I went to bed at 9 a.m. this morning after doing an all-nighter. Why was I doing an all-nighter? I was taking online courses, learning some new stuff that I need to get myself around. And when the results start coming, guess what? I am going to craft that knowledge that I spend the sleepless, and I will be able to use that and package that to my audiences again. So digital is the new way to go. Number two is the reckless abandonment to continuous learning. Number three, I would say the skill that you will need as a young person coming out is early adaptability, right? Like early adoption, right? That's the word I'm looking for. You do not want to be the person who jumps on TikTok in 2022. If I were you, you'll be on TikTok right now. Early adoption is what allows us to have platform dominance, or what we call influencers. You know and you understand that, for instance, you remember there was Vine. Vine was this big thing. But even if I take you a little bit of the step back, there was something called High Five, then there was MySpace, right? And then Facebook sort of came in and totally missed out on all of them. And then when Facebook left, or when Facebook became dominated, we saw people moving to Instagram, Snapchat. So platforms have always changed and new platforms have come. So early adoption will be great for your digital growth, for your disposition, and for how you can position yourself. Don't be a late bloomer. Don't be the last person to jump into the wagon when the world is running ahead of you, right? So early adoption. You hear there's a new technology, go try it out. Look at how you can position your business. Look at how you can position your service. Look at how you can position your brand on that platform. And when it is new, you have a better chance of dominating before everybody comes, right? I was one of the strongest people on Facebook because I was one of the first people on Facebook. I was one of the strongest people on Twitter because I was one of the first people on Twitter, So that is the thinking that you need to have on skill set, mindset about digital as a young person.
Great, thank you so much. There's someone who is disagreeing with being exposed to screens that's going to affect your mindset, your eyesight. Early adoption is not equal to success when Google came. Okay, please, Papa, do you want to attend to that?
They said earlier that when Google came, there were more than 20 search engines, and yet they took ever despite being late. Now, this is the thing. We're not talking about the platform dominance. We're talking about your individual use of the platform, right? So, of course, Facebook came to meet High Five. Those are called industry disruptions. We've seen them over and over again when new
Yeah.
technologies came in and they beat the incumbents. And that is actually the conversation that we're having. Most of those
Yeah.
incumbents, like your Nokia, like your BlackBerry, they refused to adapt. And so the new companies knocked them out, i.e., Apple, Samsung, Huawei, and all of these companies that have come in.
Yes.
So we're not
Yes.
talking about platforms, we're talking about your individual ability to build on that platform, right? When there was Google,
Absolutely.
all of us who were when Google was new, we were searching on Google, but at that time we knew Yahoo search more. So we're also on Yahoo search, right? But look at the person who didn't know Yahoo search, they didn't know Google, they were just waiting for the word. Now Google has taken all of these leap steps and they're now jumping on. That's the conversation we're having.
Great. Thank you for attending to that. So, Kwame, you're also into branding. You really, really
Yeah.
helped me with my personal branding. So, can you share a little bit about branding and some of the key elements of branding, especially
Okay.
in this new era of digitalization?
Okay. So when you think digital, you're thinking community platforms. You're thinking a new place of convergence for human activity. You're not thinking necessarily Instagram or Facebook or any of those things, right? Um,
Yeah.
okay, so somebody has said we cannot schedule posts so we don't have to spend time on our screens. Example, schedule on Hootsuite for the whole year and you get
Yes,
on when you engage. Early adoption here
absolutely.
has to do with new technology. So I'm sure people get us, and I'm sure we've answered this
Yeah.
question. Um,
Yeah.
so I said when you talk digital human activity, you're talking people coming together on a new platform where they can communicate and relate and all of that. So this is not
Yeah.
necessarily only the platform that you need to think about. You need to also think about fully um, great, I'm back. You need to fully think about how do I gain relevance on these platforms. So this is
Yeah.
where personal branding come in. Personal branding, quite literally, is the greatest hack to all digital platforms. Period. Personal branding is the greatest strategy. It is the greatest growth hack. It is the greatest dominance hack. It is literally one of the greatest tools and strategies that you can use to gain some sort of influence on digital platforms. Point blank, period. What do I mean?
Amazing.
Ehi, I am sitting on your platform today because of my personal brand. I accepted
Yes.
to sit on your platform today because of your personal brand. Now, because of your personal brand, we are leveraging each other's platform. My people will see you, and your people will see me. Without a personal brand, I would have just been another account on Instagram, and I would not be having this conversation with you. I will not be delivering value, and people will not know
Yeah.
me and will not be able to bring me any form of economic gain or economic exchange. I
Yeah.
also tell people to think about it like this. If Ehi right now, she owns a company that does fabric. If Ehi calls Channels TV or she calls TV3 in my country and says, I want to talk about Ehi or Fabric Hub, they will say to her, go to marketing department and pay for adverts or pay for, advertisement. But
Yeah.
guess what? Channels TV and TV3 can now come to Ehi, begging her and saying, please, we need you to come talk to us about how fashion brands can grow. This is our fashion month at our television station. Can you do something for us? And then go ahead to ask you, oh, for coming on our platform, what can we do for you? All of a sudden, you have scraped off all the marketing budgets by becoming a brand that is recognized, a thought leader in your industry. You have
Yeah.
hacked the system and you have turned things around. Now, clout comes after you. You don't go after clout. Media comes after you. You don't go after media. You get
Yeah.
in front of an audience of 1,200 people because of your personal brand. You speak at a conference. You have just gained 200 new clients. Somebody is in their house, cold, sending out cold emails, wishing that somebody will respond. You have stood in front of the CEO who is making the decision and blown their mind off with your presentation, and they cannot wait for you to go work with them. That is the power of personal brand. It is the one thing that everybody, regardless of what you're doing, business, service, product, influencer, you should put
Yeah.
all of your work in because it pays the longest dividends. The ROI on personal branding is absolutely bonkers. Now, ask yourself, our very, very own Dangote. Now, I don't want to speak about him as a business person or whatever. I want to speak about him as a brand. For the longest time, you could not even get one Dangote interview anywhere to watch. He was hidden. He was that businessman who was a name and a phenomena, a representation of wealth. In the new world, even Dangote understands the power of having an Instagram page, of doing interviews. He has started, attending conferences, because now it is as important for you to be recognized as it is for your company to be recognized. People don't buy logos anymore. People buy people. If your brand is not humanized, if your brand does not have a personality attached to it, nobody would be extra comfortable doing business with you. And this is the reason why we need to absolutely think about personal branding. And the how to do it is very simple. I've taught this in a lot of different platforms and trainings. Number one, identify your knowledge base, your skill sets, and your experiences. Identify your knowledge, skill set, and experiences. Put all of those three things together and ask yourself, what problem would these three things solve in the marketplace? Once you have defined that, package the brand, package what it is that you're offering as skill set, package what it is you're offering as knowledge, package what it is you're offering as experience, and then come to the marketplace. Now use this super highway internet thing, this technology called digital platforms, to sell yourself. Hey, 10, 15 years ago, I would not have heard of you if I didn't see you on TV or billboard or newspaper. Today, we have people going viral in under 24 hours who we otherwise before then did not know anything about.
Yes.
That's the power of digital. It's cheap, it's open, it's accessible. It is the very democratization of wealth. It's the democratization of access. Is taking the veil that used to be between, the Holy of Holies and right? It's taking that veil off and saying everybody can now jump on. And we've seen entertainers, comedians utilize this. We've seen real estate people. We've seen people in network marketing, forex. But entrepreneurs themselves look at it as a side, some necessary evil that you should do as little of as possible. Your personal brand is important. Let me ask you a question, just to wrap this answer up. Imagine that you are going to look for a contract, right? Your company is as competent as one of Dangote's companies. So say Dangote has a fabric company, you have a fabric company. Yeah. Both of you have the same capacity, operational capacity. You have the same capacity to deliver quality, time, efficiency, everything. When both of you walk into that room and you are bargaining for the contract, who do you think will win?
Dangote.
Why? Because he has something called social equity. His brand gives him social equity over your brand at this point in time, for which reason the client will be more comfortable dealing with him with a certain degree of trust that he might not give to you because your brand is not a certain way. And I think that we clearly underestimate the power of fame. We clearly underestimate the power of being somebody who provides value. We clearly underestimate the power of thought leadership. We clearly underestimate the power of personal brand. You will not survive online without it. So that's the thinking I want people to have.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So we will try it. Oh, wow, it's already 50 minutes. I want us to be able to save this conversation. Yeah. I realized that for the past, my two last live, I couldn't